Good morning, fourth grade, and how much I missed you, you will not know. I hope that you had a wonderful break. I know for myself, it was very relaxing, and I just got to like chill with my family and my kids. And a lot of times we'll go on vacation at Christmas time, so it's like the hustle and bustle of like pack the bags, get somewhere, get home, get everything put up, clean the house, all those things. And so it wasn't like that. It was just a very relaxing, hey, let's go hang out with some friends, or hey, let's go do this. And so um, that was really good. So I hope that you got to have a nice, relaxing break as we get ready to start this next semester. I want to take a minute just to kind of brag on you and how well we have been doing with this virtual stuff. And you notice I said we because it's me and you and your parents and your grandparents and everybody that's helping you do it. All of us together. And it has just been good. Like we were figuring it out. And I would say that we probably haven't had a disaster per se with all of it. We've had some little hiccups here and there, some little setting issues, but overall we haven't had any disasters, and so that is promising. So moving on into the second semester, we're going to start working really hard with some reading and writing things, and really vamp up those expectations of what we want from you. So make sure that you continue to participate and watch those videos, and make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing for make this a successful virtual experience. Okay, so starting out this 9 weeks, we are going to be into nonfiction. With this unit, we are just going to kind of recap everything that we've talked about in nonfiction, expository stories, and those kinds of things, because nonfiction is heavily tested in fourth grade, and a lot of you truly want to read nonfiction books. And so you need to know how to read them and how to understand what you're reading and all the things that go along with that. So we're just going to kind of touch a little bit on along the nonfiction genre this this unit before we move on to poetry and some drama and some fun stuff. Before we know it, it's going to be time for spring break, so we have got to buckle down. All right, so the book we're going to read today is called Magnificent Birds. Now, we're not going to read every page of this book because this book is super long, and I don't have that much energy or recording time. So I'm going to kind of flip to the ones that I thought were important and had some good things for us to talk about. So you notice how it's set up, and notice on this other page too with the bald eagle, it gives us the title or the heading of the bird, and then it's going to give us lots of information about that bird. So the text feature I want you to take note of as we're reading is that the heading or the title is going to give us like the name of the bird, and then maybe like the main idea of it. And then within the paragraph, we're going to get some details about that type of bird. So they kind of set it up so that we know what we're reading about, and then they describe it. This one is called the Andean flamingo, and if I pronounce any of these wrong, you're not here to correct me, but you know how to say them correctly, because we all know that there's some crazy animal names out there, and I may not say them right. High up in the salt lakes of the Andes Mountains, huge flocks of pink Andean flamingos gather every summer to perform their courtship dance. Males march and shuffle in tight formation, turning their heads quickly from side to side in a movement known as flagging. They flick their neck back to preen their feathers and make jabbering, honking sounds. This striking display is designed to attract a mate. Once a flamingo has a partner, they will stay together for several seasons and lay only one egg each year. So they, once they're a mate, like that's not a lot of like other flamingos being produced. So their eggs, we can infer that that's kind of a special egg, and there's not a lot of them. Flamingos' naturally gray plumage is transformed to bright pink by the food they eat. Andean flamingos can fly more than 700 miles in a single day to find the right shallow, salty lake with the algae they prefer. All species of flamingos live in large flocks. The lesser flamingo found in Africa can gather in groups of more than 1 million birds. In addition to South America and Africa, species of flamingos are found in the Middle East, and the Caribbean. It says here, what does the picture help you visualize? So I want you to take this picture and I want you to think about what we just learned here and what does it help you visualize? I think it helps us visualize the color of their feathers. Because remember a while ago it says their flamingo's naturally gray plumage is transformed to bright pink by the food they eat. So I think the picture is wanting to help us better understand what it looks like and what its color is based on its food. We saw the word plumage. Do you know what a plumage is? The flamingo's naturally gray plumage is transformed to bright pink. Well, I mean, maybe I don't know what plumage is, but I do know that that flamingos have feathers. So maybe it's all their colors, their feathers. Greater bird of paradise. In the rainforests of Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, and Australia lives a family of birds with unusual plumage known collectively as birds of paradise. The males of the 29 known species go to great lengths to attract a mate. Some, such as the Wilson's bird of paradise, show off bright primary colors on their feathers and skin. Others, such as the ribbon-tailed Asterepa, have ornamental feathers that can be nearly 3 feet long. Many birds of paradise inherit a sequence of dance steps they display to impress their mates. The greater bird of paradise is the largest of the family, at round 17 inches in length. In the rainforest canopy, the male calls and waits for a female to enter its courting territory. Often another male will display along it in competition. Once a potential mate is watching, the bird will parade and hop back and forth, shaking and showing off the extravagant feathers on its back. It will then freeze in a pose, allowing the female to inspect its plumage. Such display can last for hours. So, if he thinks there's a pretty girl looking at him, pretty bird, he gonna shake his tail feathers and hope that she likes his feathers. That's so funny. You notice that each page is a different bird. Why do you think the author organized the book this way? Like, why do you think he set it up so, like, this page is only going to be about the greater bird of paradise and the other one's only going to be about the flamingo? I think he set it up that way because it really helps me understand that bird. It helps me understand the information that goes along with it. I'm not trying to look at like 5 different birds in 5 different paragraphs. So it makes it easier for us to be able to read. Let's see here. All right, up next, we have the barn owl. It says the near silent night flights of the barn owl are not the only thing that makes it such a deadly hunter. Its sense of hearing is among the most sensitive of any animal. Although it hunts mainly at dawn and dusk, the barn owl is able to catch prey in total darkness from sound alone. Its heart-shaped face collects sound, and its asymmetrical ear placement allows the owl to determine prey's location with pinpoint accuracy. With its large eyes, the barn owl's vision is twice as sensitive as a human's. The barn owl swallows prey whole, then regurgitates inedible materials like fur and bone in a compact pellet. Now, what do we think regurgitate might mean? So it says here, then regurgitates an edible material like fur and bone into a pellet. So we know what regurgitate means, like when the bird throws it up or something like that. But what if I didn't know? Some of us may not know. That's a really big word. And it's a really big word when I'm reading it. Like maybe I can hear it and know it, but to read it, I might not know it. And so I could use my context clues, and it says his fur and bone, and he puts it in a pellet. So that lets me know like he gets rid of it somehow. It says that the barn owl has a heart-shaped face. Why do you think they included that illustration right there? Yeah, I think they included the illustration of his heart-shaped face so that we could have a really good visual of what the heart looks like. Like, is his face cut out like a heart, or is it the feathers in in kind of the flow of the coloring? So that helps me understand that a little bit better. Okay, this one is called Kickapoo. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. The Kickapoo, it has been in New Zealand since prehistoric times and can live up to 90 years. But despite this, it's one of the world's rarest birds. Kickapoos are found only on 3 small islands in the Pacific Ocean. By the 1970s, introduced predators like feral cats had disseminated the population. Only 18 male kickapoos were thought to be left in the world. The species looked doomed to extinction until a small population of both males and females was discovered and an intensive conservation program began. The kickapoos were moved to protected islands where they were supplied with food and closely monitored. Through this painstaking work, the Kickapoo population has now reached more than 100 individuals. It says a Kickapoo is a large parrot that climbs instead of flies. It only emerges from its nest on the ground at night. The Kickapoo is the only parrot to have a leak breeding system where groups of males gather to compete for females. The male digs a bowl on high ground to act as an amplifier. Then, using its thoracic sac, it inflates like a balloon and makes a sonic boom that can be heard from up to 3 miles away. It can perform like this for 8 hours without a break. Interspersing its boom with high-frequency ching sounds that pinpoint its location to any interested female. That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's talk about a couple things with this Magnificent Bird book. First of all, let me get a drink of water. That was a lot of reading. Why do you think the author wrote this book the way he did? We kind of talked about that a while ago, his text structure, so that it made it a little bit easier for me to understand each bird and what it looked like as I was understanding it. And then what do you think the message of this book is? So we've talked a lot about like theme and lesson and message. Like, what do you think the author wanted me to take away from these birds? Like the big idea of this book. It says here, the larger message of the book is that birds are found in many places on Earth, and each bird species is special in its own way. And I can take evidence from this book to prove that. Like, there were lots of evidence proving that these birds are different from each one's different and unique. And that they're found all over the earth. I mean, it talks about many different countries in this book with these birds. So, that is Magnificent Birds. And I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe you can do a little bird research if you get bored.